tell us a little bit about Sovryn and what it does and why it's so special?
So Sovryn is, in the first line, is a protocol. It's a protocol in the same way that Bitcoin is a protocol. It's a set of deployed smart contracts on the RSK sidechain, which is merge mined with Bitcoin, sharing in Bitcoin's security guarantees. Okay, that's why we say it's DeFi on Bitcoin, is because it's using a layer 2 solution, which is the RSK side, the rootstock sidechain. Again, to repeat this because it's very, very important, it's merge mined with Bitcoin, which means that the same miners that are mining Bitcoin are mining rootstock, RSK, and we are sharing in the security guarantee. There are trade-offs.
Excuse me. There's no additional electricity needed, is it?
Well, I mean, no, actually not. No, actually, no. It's
the
no
same as for Bitcoin.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right. So Sovryn is a protocol. It's open source. It's on GitHub. It's auditable. It's forkable. Anybody can take it and duplicate what it is that's being done. Right. The smart contracts are written in Solidity, which is the language that has enabled Ethereum to move forward at a speed that was different than Bitcoin moving forward, because scripting capabilities, Bitcoin script, was very, very complicated and very, very limited. There was no development around it because people were focused on other things, right? So Vitalik Buterin was in the forums and proposed basically, some sort of scripting composability for Bitcoin, and everybody went, go away, stay away from our holy, Austrian libertarian Gulch money, and just run away, kid. And so, he wrote about it more. He attracted Gavin Wood. And basically on an About Me profile. So Vitalik Buterin was on About Me and said, hey, I wrote this paper and blah, blah, blah. And Gavin Wood got in touch and said, okay, it's cool. And they ended up meeting and discussing and developing things together, and eventually decided to launch Ethereum on Bitcoin. People forget that Ethereum was the first ICO on Bitcoin. Who supported Ethereum at the beginning? Bitcoiners. All of the original Ethereum people, Bitcoiners. So this is where I get really, really sort of like disgusted and frustrated by the flippening and tribal debates around Ethereum and Bitcoin, because the people who started it are all totally conscious of what Bitcoin is. Originally, Ethereum was launched exactly for this energy debate. That was the argument at the beginning, right? Okay, we're wasting all of this energy, so let's do proof of stake. Uses less energy, right? Has a different set of security guarantees, but it was a very, very hippie, utopian sort of inception that was based around, and people forget this, really, I don't understand how the people can forget this that have been around, was exactly for this reason. Right. So now it is that we have Solidity on RSK. So in 2016, Sergio Lerner gave his first talk about rootstock. They drew a huge amount of capital, I think close to $1 billion, again, in Bitcoin, to build this network. And it's now finally come to fruition years later. There's a lot of discussions around the security guarantees, around the federators, and all these things around rootstock. But it's a different animal. The question is, how do you provide composability and layer 2 solutions on top of Bitcoin? One of the ways that we've done it so far has been Lightning, and I'd like to go back and say also again, when the Lightning paper came out in 2014, I think, I think it was 2014. We were saying at the Bitcoin Foundation, we could use Lightning by the end of the year and get away from transaction fees. It took years and years and years for Lightning to get to the point where it is right now. Simultaneously, RSK is developing, and now we're at the point where we have composable scripted contracts for doing other things on top of Bitcoin. So that's what's unique about rootstock. And this is where Sovryn sits, is at the intersection between sound money, security guarantees, permissionlessness on top of Bitcoin, with the additional scripting capabilities that have been developed over the last 5 years in Ethereum, right? Mm-hmm. So taking Sovryn as a protocol and taking RSK as a side chain, we also have an application, which is what people see, and that's live.sovryn.app. And what that is a decentralized exchange. Decentralized in the sense that, first of all, Sovryn has no company. It's a group of contributors that are around the GitHub repo that launched a token, which is a coordination token. It's not a shit coin like people like to say. It's a coordination token. And what this coordination token is allows you to participate in governance of the protocol, right? So you can acquire SOV, and when you have SOV, you can stake it in our governance process, which is called Bitocracy. And when you stake your tokens in the Bitocracy, depending on the length of the stake and the number that you stake, your voting power is calculated quadratically, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a balance in between whales and small holders. Again, quadratic voting was an idea that came from Vitalik Buterin, and that was expanded together with Glenn Weil. I think you've even spoken with Glenn, or maybe not, but then went on to be quadratic funding, which is implemented at Gitcoin, where we're doing the hackathon, right? So we have all of these different things that are happening inside of Sovryn. So you have the governance staking of the token, but what's unique about it is that you also, when you stake, you share in all the fees that are generated on the platform. So there's no entity, all right? There's no group of people that are profiting from having this exchange. Everybody who has a token, everybody who holds SOV is getting a percentage of the fees generated by the platform. So it's basically what I like to call participatory revenue sharing. PRS. I have a purse. It's not equity, right? I'm participating in sharing the revenue that's generated by the platform. So we've thought about this very, very carefully in terms of, is it a security? What type of language do you use, and all of that? And at a certain point, it doesn't really matter because you can't stop it. It's a protocol that's running now. We can't turn it off. And we've built an application on top of it, which allows for borrowing, lending, trading, market making, yield farming, liquidity providing, and you can do all of those things on the platform. And here's the kicker: you never give up the keys to your crypto. You can always move in and you can always move out because they're your private keys. You're signing transaction on the Sovryn platform using your private keys. We do not store them. We do not have access to them. There's not an order book. You keep your Bitcoin on your ledger. You sign from your ledger or your Trezor. Yeah. So it's always your private key, and we can't stop anybody from taking their crypto out of the system. There are slashing rewards if you're staking or providing liquidity. There's all kinds of, game theoretical economics around that to incentivize long-term thinking. But essentially, it's permissionless. It's a decentralized exchange, and it's running on a protocol that we cannot stop. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And if any of the developers that are getting compensated for maintaining the protocol want to change the smart contracts, it has to go through the governance process. So we're now on our 19th SIP, Sovereign Improvement Protocol. So it's not BIP, it's not EEP, it's SIP. And the 19th one was just, we'll go to vote on Monday. And that is from the Exchequer Committee, which was voted in by SOV holders to manage the funds for the development of the protocol. And the total budget for the year is now up for a vote, and SOV holders will be able to say, yes, we want this group of people to spend this amount of money or not. So it's a set of consensus rules. And by participating in the consensus, you also share in the economic success of the platform. That's the decentralized exchange and decentralized governance model that Sovryn is doing, based on the sound money guarantees of Bitcoin. So anybody out there that's saying that DeFi is not happening on Bitcoin just doesn't want to see the reality. They're locked up in some sort of dogmatic, non-adversarial, non-curious, worldview, and it's happening around them. And you can go black is white if you want to, but that's going to be just as effective as the Trump administration was. Time will show that DeFi is happening on Bitcoin.
What's the goal for the hackathon? And maybe we also have listeners who don't know what a hackathon is. Please explain.
So hackathons basically grew out of LAN parties and the demo scene. And LAN parties were local area network gaming. So when when somebody had a LAN box with Ethernet cables before we had wireless, you'd get together and, with a bunch of cables, and everybody would do multiplayer gaming, right? And simultaneous with multiplayer gaming, LAN parties, there was also what was called the demo scene. And the demo scene was that you would write code in real time with people around you, and there would be competitions, right? And that sort of grew into hackathons. And then also when we started seeing DDoSing of sites on the internet and stuff, and the word hacker and the film hackers and all of this stuff. It's sort of like a collective culture that grew into that you have a 1, 3, 5, 7 day event where people come together and you have a theme and you say, okay, in those 3 days, we're going to intensively build something. And you put a team together, and one guy writes the Python code, the other guy writes the front end, and you compete against each other in the sense that you have a short period of time to show everybody what it is that you do. And at the end of the hackathon, you get up and you do a presentation, right? People are used to this in venture capital, where you have a pitch deck. You have 15 minutes right? So people in VC, they get together and they make their project and they make a pitch deck, and then they go and do a dog and pony show with VC. And in the hacker world, it's hackathons. And so many different things that we know, found their start in hackathons, where people who didn't know each other got together and, looked to solve a problem. Like, what's the problem that we want to solve, right? So I've been involved in that culture for a long time, and as I said, started working in Ethereum and doing hackathons, ETH Berlin. Doing the speaker programming and being involved in the co-production team of ETH Berlin. During DevCon 4, did a side event called Crypto Life with Status IM, which birthed a number of projects like Leap DAO is one of them that came out of Crypto Life Hackathon. Also Mintbase, which is run by a guy named Nate Geyer, who's an NFT platform on Ethereum. Things that people are familiar with: Uniswap, SushiSwap, came out of Ethereum hackathons. So I've been involved in that space. And so, as I mentioned earlier, the contracts for Sovryn are written in Solidity, the Ethereum world. So we started looking around because we're expanding the team. We grew from 15 to 60. We still have 40 open positions in the last 4 months, and you can't find any Solidity developers in a bull market. With this dip that we're at right now, we're still in a bull market. If you look at the the trend lines across the years. So I started reaching out once I joined Sovryn, because we needed developers and UI, UX people, and basically everybody I know was working. And there's tons of money sloshing around at the moment, and there's not a lot of developers. So I was like, all right, so how can I get access to developers in Ethereum for a DeFi project on Bitcoin? A hackathon. So we're doing that on Gitcoin, and Gitcoin is a unique animal in the space. There's no equivalent in Bitcoin. Gitcoin was an early consensus project. They've just recently spun out and now have their own governance token, which allows you to participate in the governance of the Gitcoin platform. And the Gitcoin's mission is to fund open source software development, whether it's in the crypto space or any sector. It's a portal that you log on to that has prize bounties. And it's so not only are there hackathons there, but there's an ongoing companies, projects post a bounty. Hey, I need, I need this smart contract review done. I need this, I need to do that. And it's basically a way to get paid for your skills in coding. And they've basically distributed over $12.5 million over the last years to open source developers, and so people are getting paid in tokens, in Ethereum, in DAI. In you can basically any of the ERC20 tokens are available on the Gitcoin platform, and it's an incredibly vibrant network of developers. I think it's over 92,000. Developers are on the platform. So I've been, I know the Gitcoin team and have participated in many events together with them. And so I thought this is the best place that we can do a hackathon. So I spoke with the leadership circle and budget committee in Sovryn, said I want to do a hackathon to basically find talent. And so we're putting up $500,000 in SOV for bounties and post-hackathon grants in 5 different tracks. We'll be giving prizes, and then the intention is from those prize winners that we provide grants to further develop their project. And what we're looking for are things that intersect with our product, or that also bring the space forward. So it's not only limited to Sovryn as a platform, but DeFi as a whole. So looking to inform Bitcoiners about this way of incentivized development. You can keep arguing about shitcoins if you want to, but we're so far past that point, right? There's an interlocking economy of people with aligned interests in Ethereum that are all holding equity in each other's projects. Everybody's holding each other's tokens. Those tokens are available in pools like Uniswap, and it's incentivized, an incredible amount of development that's rocketed Ethereum forward. And so we want to bring that back as a homecoming to Bitcoin. We don't think that Ethereum is going to stop existing. We don't think it should stop existing. We think that it's great that it exists, right? Because it has provided an on-ramp for this to start happening on Bitcoin. So the second goal of the conference is a meeting of the minds, is a meeting of the interests, a meeting of curiosity, a meeting of adversarial thinkers from any chain, right? That we come together and say, how do we advance DeFi? How do we advance identity? How do we advance privacy and shielded transactions? How do we advance all of these things based on Bitcoin's sound money and security guarantees? So I pulled together a number of people from across the space, from both the Ethereum and Bitcoin worlds, that are thinking in this way and that get it, and we're going to have panels, 3 days of talks, and at the beginning of the hackathon and 3 days at the end, and then we'll judge this stuff, and the best projects will incentivize further with grants. But it doesn't stop there. The vision goes further. So in addition to all the DeFi aspects of Sovryn, we also have a token launch platform, which is called Origins. And so since we launched our own token on our own platform, we're now launching tokens to incentivize development for DeFi products. And the first two that we're doing is called Money on Chain, which is a stablecoin project that came out of Mexico, which we have as stablecoin collateral on our system. They have two products, and then a second one is called Babblefish Money. And what Babblefish Money is a basket of stable coins. So we are implementing the Babblefish Money protocol on Sovryn. It's an integrated part of our product, and to continue with the development, they are now doing token launches on the Origins platform of Sovryn. And think about this. If you hold SOV, then you're going to be getting an airdrop of these token launches of products that are integrated with the Sovryn platform. So the roadmap is we do a hackathon, we support further with grants. There are VC companies that are interested in providing additional seed capital to build teams. And so that'll be the roadmap that we incentivize VCs to invest in teams that have proven themselves with product development through the hackathon and through a grant process. And then we will provide them an on-ramp to actually do their own token launch to fund their operations and their protocol, interlocked with open decentralized governance. So no companies, this is all part of the whole future of decentralized autonomous organizations or DAOs or however you want to call them, but we don't even see the need for that. The only relevant thing is a multi-sig that controls where it is that the money goes, and those multi-sigs should have a governance process back behind them. So that's the roadmap, and that's our vision for the year. And it starts with the hackathon. The hackathon is backed by what it is that we've done over the last 6 months. And we're inviting Bitcoiners and Ethereans to come together and basically build a permissionless future. Everything that exists on Ethereum can exist on RSK. It's Solidity. We're speaking with Avalanche. We're also having Stacks, which is people see as a competitor in the Bitcoin DeFi space. Munib, who's been working for many years with Stacks, is going to be one of the judges. We're reaching out to Thorchain. We're speaking with Lightning. We're speaking with anybody who wants to enable permissionless or frictionless transactions, and just trying to incentivize and kickstart the ecosystem on Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm. And are you looking only for developers or also for people who do product management and other stuff?
Well, of course. So the idea behind a hackathon is that people come together, they examine the prize bounties, they come into the Discord channels. So there'll be Discord channels for each of the bounty tracks, and say, hey, I do this. Do you guys need that? Who's doing that? And the idea is that in a 6-week period of time, that people find each other with skill sets and common interests, and in that 6-week time, build something that can be implemented, right? So it's like, build us something that works, right, to the degree that it can. And if we look at it and we go, okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah, we'll give you money for having done it, and we'll reward you to keep developing it. But it has to be something that has some sort of like relevance, right? So yes, UI, UX people, product managers, however it is that people get together to, somebody needs to do the slide deck, somebody needs to do the video for YouTube, right? So there's a whole set of submission guidelines of what makes a complete submission. So it's a GitHub repo with auditable code. It's a product description and a pitch deck and a video. And so it's like it's an accelerator. It's an incubator. That's what a hackathon is for us. It's a way of using open source software where everything is open for everybody to see and to audit, as is the ethic and the base of our community. And you say, okay, so you think you have an idea, build it. Cypherpunks write code, show us to it. And that needs also people that communicate that. So people gather together in a virtual space, chat room. They can also connect over Zoom or Jitsi or whatever, however it is that people from all over the world get together and focus for 6 weeks to accomplish something, to earn a reward, with the idea that it's going to be the best projects will be funded further.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And how is the application process working, and when is it starting?
Okay, so right now you can go to sovryn.sovryn.app, and there's a sign up form there, and it'll take you eventually to Gitcoin, to the page. So it'll walk you through the process and provide you a link to Gitcoin. And you sign up on Gitcoin, and as of June 4th, there will be prize bounties in the Bounty Explorer on Gitcoin for the Sovryn Hackathon. And you sign up on Gitcoin, and you do a profile, and there you can explore the prize bounties and connect with people that want to collaborate with that on Gitcoin. And then in our Discord channel. So there'll be mentors, and I'll be in channels and helping people and answering questions, and other people will be doing so as well. And then you have 6 weeks to submit a completed project, which will then be judged. Mm-hmm.
Okay, wow, great. Did we miss anything? What do you think? Did we miss anything what people need to know about the hackathon?
Well, in addition to our bounties, so we're giving $500,000 in bounties and grants. We also have additional partners, the Posch Network, API3, ENS domains, and Interlay are also adding another, I think it's about $150,000 or $175,000 in bounties and grants to this. It could end up being more by the time that it is that the hackathon launches. And yeah, so there'll be online content. Okay, right. So we're also going to be live streaming a side event from Bitcoin Miami. So we launched the same day as Bitcoin Miami. On the 4th in the evening, John Light, also known as Litecoin on Twitter, is doing a multi-chain Miami event where there's also going to be speakers. And so we'll be including that as content. Hopefully you'll be joining us to moderate panels during our content. That would be really cool. So there's the hackathon, there's the content program. I'm going to make it up as I go along. Basically, there's a rough framework, but there's a certain amount of spontaneity to it. So as things develop and people pay attention to it and want to get involved, then we'll find a way to get people involved. And so what it is that I'm doing doesn't begin and end with the hackathon. It's just like a way of saying hello to everybody. Come and talk to us and show us what it is that you want to do. And we'll do whatever it is that we can to enable it. Yeah. There's 15 projects that we're working on at the moment that we're not even talking about publicly. There's so much activity that's going on, and they're all in various stages of percolating and being enabled to basically run and finance and govern themselves. And we're just acting as an enabler. None of us are trying to get rich on this, other than have an infrastructure that we can use our crypto without having to participate in the system as it exists now, right? So that's the goal, is creating all the stuff that we want to use and that we need, and looking forward on not just what's in front of our nose, but what's happening in 1, 3, 5 years, right? Mm-hmm.
What a fascinating new world, actually. I mean, also for me, hackathons, when I started with the internet in 1997, there was not such a thing like that, at least not here in Austria, and always in this business context, you don't have that. I mean, I don't know how it is today. Maybe, that's more, but yeah, sounds, interesting. Thanks so much for joining the Anita Posch Show today to learn more about Bitcoin. You can find the show notes for this conversation on anita.link/show. If you want to get the best stories in Bitcoin from my point of view in your mailbox, go to anita.link/weekly and subscribe. And if you have a question or just want to send me some feedback, drop me a line at hello@anitaposch.com. See you next week when it's time for the Anita Posch Show. Music, start with yes, delicate beats. Content, idea and production, Anita Posch.